Thank you so much. And I want to congratulate you, Chairman Griffith, on your new role as chair of this subcommittee. We've worked together on the oversight subcommittee with Mr. Griffith as chair, with me as chair, and most days we got along. We at least agreed on parliamentary procedure, and there's that.
Absolutely.
So we've worked a lot together over the years. We do have our ideological differences, which we discuss because we represent very different constituencies. But as you heard, we do share a belief in this committee and this institution, and we believe that we must achieve good things for the American people when it works effectively. And we want our constituents to live longer and healthier lives. That's what this is about. So today, we're considering important legislation to reauthorize FDA's over-the-counter medicines program, critical health workforce development programs, and more. I'm particularly proud of our past work on over-the-counter medicines. And the chairman mentioned this briefly. 5 years in, we've seen early successes. I want to thank my colleague from Ohio, Mr. Latta, I don't see him here, for introducing the legislation with me for this first reauthorization of the over-the-counter medicines program. And I look forward to seeing continued success of the program in the next 5 years. We were supposed to do this last week, but the Republicans postponed it because I guess they were celebrating the passage of, frankly, the worst piece of legislation, both in process and substance, that I have seen in my time in Congress. The Republicans jammed through the big bad bill and its handouts to the wealthiest Americans literally under the cover of night, including in our committee, while real legislating to help our constituents was non-existent. Between cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act and the choice not to extend tax credits for health care coverage, 17 million people will now be without health insurance. I don't see anything beautiful in that. I don't see anything that's going to help the health of Americans. I think the law rolls back much of the progress that we've made in getting people enrolled early in health care when we passed the Affordable Care Act in the first place. Medicaid expansion was a lifeline to hospitals struggling to keep their doors open, not just for poor people, but for everybody in their community. And now, faced with a financial cliff, many of those hospitals might close. So just last week, during our unplanned recess, I visited a Planned Parenthood clinic in my district that can no longer serve individuals covered by Medicaid for routine, not abortions, but for routine medical exams like pap smears, breast exams. They have already had to cancel hundreds of appointments for people coming into these things. And these are people who are not going to be able to find doctors anywhere else. Frankly, these cuts are just mean. They don't save money. And my colleagues across the aisle have preached for decades about fiscal responsibility. But I guess that giving billionaires more tax cuts and kicking millions of Americans off their health care is more important. The big bad bill makes our mounting national debt even worse, increasing it by trillions of dollars to finance these tax cuts, and now much of it is law. Much of it won't go into effect for years, so I hope that we could work together in a bipartisan way to clean up this mess of a law before it hurts more people. And apparently so does Senator Hawley, who after voting for the law just 2 weeks ago, introduced a bill that would reverse many of the cuts in Medicaid that he just voted for. So, you know, I pride myself in working in a bipartisan way on bills that will improve the health of our constituents and of all Americans. But I feel, and all of my colleagues on this subcommittee feel, that we've been frozen out of the work of this subcommittee from the beginning of the year, from issues that should be non-controversial to the big bad bill that we just passed a couple of weeks ago. And so let's turn a new page, Mr. Chairman. Let's have a new era in our committee and go back to what we used to do, working together in a bipartisan way. I yield back.